Ladies and gentlemen, may I interrupt this wonderful dinner for just 15 minutes, because it's time for the keynote of this evening. And our keynote speaker traveled around the globe to talk about his book Gamify. He spoke in Sydney, in Barcelona, in San Francisco, in London, in Dubai, in Las Vegas, and tonight he's here with us in Sertogenbosch. He's going to talk about how gamification takes motivation to the next level and how you can motivate people to do extraordinary things. He's here with us, and I'm talking obviously about Brian Burke, and he is a research vice president at Gartner. Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention and give it up for Mr. Brian Burke. Welcome, Mr. Burke.
Thank you very
much.
Welcome. Okay. Good. How's everybody? Good? Dinner's great, isn't it? Great. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about gamification. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. You will by the end of my talk. I want to start with a little story. About 35 years ago, I was a ski bum in Banff, in the Rocky Mountains in Canada. And at the resort that I worked at, which was Norquay, what they did was they provided pins for skiing different levels of vertical feet in a day. So if you skied 25,000 vertical feet, you would get a bronze pin. If you skied 30,000 vertical feet, you would get a silver pin. And if you skied 35,000 feet, you would get a gold pin. And you can see my gold pin with 35,000 vertical feet right there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I want to tell you, extend that story a little bit, because when I was there, it was Norquay's 50th anniversary. And for their 50th anniversary, they created a platinum 50,000 foot pin. Now, skiing 50,000 feet in a day is a real challenge. You had to ski from the top to the bottom, 38 runs, basically as fast as you could, to finish that in a day. Now, the catch was that they only made 50 pins. So they started the season, and I'd gotten all of my pins through the gold, and I was kind of sitting back and waiting and thinking, well, I'm going to go for this, when there's a few pins left. And apparently, there was some other people who were thinking the same. So I decided one day that I'm going to go for it. Now, the challenge was that so did about 10 other people. So since there was only 3 pins left, it turned into an all-day race, top to bottom, 38 times. And the fastest way to get down was you get off the lift at the top of the mountain and then turn left, and you go down the North American, which is a black diamond, which is a tough run. But then you switch over and you go under a stone bridge, so you're through a tunnel, and then you turn right to go down the bottom half on the Lone Pine. Now, the Lone Pine is legendary. Double black diamond, steepest constant pitch in North America. And so the last part of the hill was really tough. So we start off the day, and it's a race. And we're going down, and there's guys around me, girls around me, and we're all going for it. And a few people had dropped out. There was a few injuries. I recall I was skiing down the North American and coming down really fast. And there's a guy coming down ahead of me. In fact, most of the people were ahead of me most of the time. But there's a guy coming down ahead of me, and I could see he's trying to make the corner into the tunnel, under the stone bridge. And his skis are chattering, and I'm thinking, he's not going to make it, he's not going to make it. And he decided the same, and he went boof, he went off into the woods, and there was snow, and there was branches. I didn't stop. On I went. But the challenge was that there was a lot of good skiers skiing that day. And so I ended up being the fourth to ski the 50,000 vertical feet in that day. And so my friends, feeling a little bit sorry for me that I didn't get the 50,000 foot vertical pin, they made me this pin in the center. You can see it's just an old badge with the face ripped off, a piece of masking tape put on it, and it says Norquay's 51st 50,000 foot from 1980. And I keep these pins, in a box in my house with my treasures. And now, 35 years later, I still have this pin, this piece of tin, and I treasure it, incredibly. And it's not because a piece of tin has any value. It only has value to me. And the value that it has is, what it means to me that my friends gave me this pin as a reminder of that particular day on the slopes of Mount Norquay. Now, fast forward today, things have changed completely. If you go to Vail Resorts, you can sign up for something called Epic Mix. Now, Epic Mix does a lot of the same things. They track your progress, how many vertical feet you've skied, how fast you've skied. You can race against Lindsey Vonn. You can post your photos if you're doing your amazing things on Facebook. And we all know skiing is really about bragging anyways. So, but they can do this with 200,000 people. So when I was skiing in my day, and I'm still skiing today, but back in my days at Norquay, there was a guy with a clipboard who checked every time I went up the lift and everybody else went up the lift to count the number of times that we went up the lift. My friends were cheering me in real time, and it was all really exciting, but it didn't scale. What Epic Mix does is it takes all of that and scales it. And so what gamification is really about is taking all of that engagement and motivation and moving it into a digital environment to scale that to engage a lot of different people. And that is a really powerful thing. When you think about gamification, really what it is middleware for motivation. So, all of the really killer apps have been around connecting people with people. So if you think back to the, fax, telephone, telegraph, email, SMS, all of the killer apps have been about connecting people with people. Now, gamification takes that and takes it a step further, because it's really about connecting people with their goals and engaging them and motivating them to achieve their goals. So when you think about gamification, yes, it does include things like points and badges, but hopefully you've learned from my discussion about, the badge, my 50,000 foot badge, is that it's not really the badge that counts. It's what it means that counts and what it means to individuals. And so gamification is providing that middleware for motivation. And it's having a tremendous impact on organizations. Now, I wanted to give you an example of an old world style engagement versus a new world style engagement. Weight Watchers. How many of you are familiar with Weight Watchers? Nope, don't hold up your hands. Weight Watchers, as you all know, is a program that encourages people to diet and exercise, and they have weekly meetings, and you get on the scale, and everybody cheers, and Sue's lost some weight, Tom's lost some weight, yay, it's all good, and it's all motivating, and it works, and people lose weight. Alternatively, MyFitnessPal does a lot of the same thing, but it does it in the virtual world rather than in the real world. So the way the Weight Watchers business model works is that you pay to go to meetings, and they have facilitators at meetings, so it's all very face-to-face thing. The way that MyFitnessPal works is that you log onto a website, you engage other people, you can share your results on Facebook, so it's all in the virtual world. Now, the difference is that Weight Watchers has 56,000 employees to manage this model for 1.5 million members. MyFitnessPal has 50 million members and about 75 employees. Now, if you take a look at Weight Watchers' stock price over the last 2.5 years, it was up in the 60 to 70 range. I checked today, and it's at 575. And they're blaming that on fitness devices, on MyFitnessPal, and on a virtual model for delivering the kind of engagement and motivation that they, for 50 years, have done in a physical face-to-face model. So, the thing is that there's nothing really new about using badges and points and those kinds of things for engagement. The Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have been doing it for 100 years. The military's been doing it for 1,000 years. What's really different is using a digital engagement model to do that. Now, we're going to play a game. I want you all to pull out your mobiles, your tablets, whatever you happen to have with you. And we're going to play a game. Okay. Just to help you understand the power of gamification. Good. Okay. Now, you've got your mobile phone. You have to go to Kahoot. Oh, I've lost my... Should I try this Alt-7 again? Okay, help.
This is your computer?
Yeah, it's probably FN7.
Yeah, duplicate.
Duplicate?
Where did you do that?
How's that? Oh! Wow! Thank God for the technicians. Okay, so you've got your mobile phone out, and you're going to kahoot.it, and then when you get there, it's going to ask you for a game pin. You will enter 313724. And I'll wait for you to do that. Okay, now once you've done that, once you've gotten to Kahoot and you've entered your game pin, it's going to ask you for a name. Now you can use your real name, you can use a nickname, you can use the name of somebody you don't like, you can use any name at all. So just enter the game pin and then the name, and I see lots of people are starting to get it already. We're up to 33 players, 34 players. Okay. We'll give you a minute more to get on there. Okay, see well, yeah, it's going to say it's starting to slow down, but not so much. I see it's starting to slow down now. Okay, so the idea with this game is you can always still continue to log in. The game pin will be on the bottom here, so if you haven't got it yet, you'll get it there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through 5 questions. And the way that you win this game is that you'll be given 4 options for the correct answer for this question. And the person that answers first will get the most points. The person that answers last will get the least points. You have 20 seconds to answer. You don't answer, you get no points. And so, is it clear? Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, 5 questions. What is the earliest example of using points, badges, and leaderboards to engage people? Is it ski resorts, the Boy and Girl Scouts, Foursquare, or the ancient Greeks? 5 seconds. Okay, the correct answer was ancient Greeks, and 93 of you got it. An outstanding majority. I see that the trick here was gamification has been around for a long time, and we're really just understanding how that works. Now, who's Nick Eater? Is that how I pronounce this? Hands up. Nick. Oh, there he is over there. Big round of applause for Nick. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What motivates players most in gamification? Is it winning badges, achieving their goals, collecting points, or topping the leaderboard? Five seconds. Good, it is achieving your goals. That's really what motivates people in gamification. So it's not really about topping the leaderboard, it's about achieving your own individual goals. Now that may imply that you've topped the leaderboard, but that's what really gamification is all about. And we're gonna find out who's winning here. Who's a Norquay fan? Yeah, I'm a Norquay fan. Big round of applause. Okay, let's move on to the next. What do airline reward programs have in common with gamification? Points and levels, shared goals, valuable rewards, or VIP lounge access? Five seconds. Okay, it's, you know, what airline reward programs have in common with gamification is points and levels. But they're entirely different things because they're really not engaging you to achieve your goals. They're engaging you to achieve the airline's goals, aren't they? Right? So if you fly 10 times and they give you a free flight, well, you got the free flight, but they paid you for that. It's not your goal to fly with the same airline all the time. So gamification and reward programs are significantly different. Okay, let's go on to the next. Oh, we got Norquay fan way out ahead. Big round of applause for Norquay fan. Okay, and moving on to the next. What does not motivate people in the long run? Is it mastery, purpose, autonomy, or money? Five seconds. It is money. Most of you got that. Money can be used as a short-term motivator, but if you read Dan Pink's book called Drive on what really motivates people, it's around mastering a skill, it's around serving a purpose higher than your own, it's about making your own decisions, so autonomy. Okay, and we're going on to what I believe is, oh, we've got a change in the scoreboard. It's Mikhail H. Where we are, at the back. Big round of applause. My goodness, this is getting exciting. Last question. What distinguishes gamification from earlier approaches? Is it competition, points and badges, digital engagement, or social interaction? Five seconds. Okay, it's digital engagement. That's where I started this story, saying 35 years ago, we were doing gamification in the real world, but now we're really extending that and breaking barriers of, time, cost, distance, and scale. Lost connection to the server. Do you mean we're not going to find out who won? Oh, wait, we might. And the winner is Norquay fan. Big round of applause. Excellent work. Okay. Good. Now, I want to give you one more example. I'd love to stay up here for an hour and talk, but I can't. But I'm going to give you one more example of the power of gamification to engage and motivate people. And this example is how we're going to engage and motivate young people in social causes.
We Day is more than a one-day event. It launches a year-long series of actions to better our global community. And we make that commitment today.
You can all work together to make the world a better place for everybody.
Together, we can all change the world.
World peace must come through inner peace.
Look around you. There are thousands of empowered youth right here, right now.
One heart with courage is a majority.
There is no room like this room anywhere on the planet.
Did anybody work hard to get here today?
United, we are one voice.
We Day has changed my life. I'm so impacted. I can't even describe to you.
We Day, are you ready to change the world?
Now, Craig and Mark Kielberger, they founded We Day along with a charity called Free the Children, and they're involved in multiple causes around the world. But We Day is a special event. It's held in a stadium-sized event. It's held in 12 locations around the world, in Canada, the United States, and the UK. And really what it's about is really taking young people and getting them excited, motivated, and engaged in social causes. And so you can see it's a tremendous event. But the challenge that they faced was that We Day is just one day. And how can they continue that engagement with these young people and turn that into a habit that they're going to live on a daily basis? So what they did was they created an application called We365, which is a gamified application that kids can take around with them, and they can log their volunteer hours, they can log the causes that they're contributing, they can log all of the activity that they're participating in around social change. And so, you know, what Craig told me is our dream is to take that spirit and connect it, take that spirit of We365, connect it on a daily basis 365 days a year. So that's really what gamification is about, is how do you take, you know, all of that energy, all of that excitement, and how do you shrink it down into an application that's going to engage and motivate people to achieve their goals. And I leave you with one challenge. How are you going to use gamification to change your world? Thank you very much.
Brian Burke. Thank you very much, Mr. Burke.